Hey guys, this video is for HR class. I'm just gonna skim through chapter 7, just do a quick summary on it. Try and keep it short. The good thing with HR, it's all pretty straightforward stuff. So I definitely recommend just reading through your textbook for more information, more context. The textbook's really good. It gives real life examples of companies that are facing these situations and stuff. And as always, just send me an email if you have any questions. But I'll share the screen here and get into the PowerPoints, wherever those are. There we go. Okay, so we finished chapter 6 in class, and now chapter 7, which focuses on onboarding, training and development, and career planning. We already looked at like the selection and recruiting process, and now this is the next step after that. Skip through that a little bit. So strategic importance of onboarding, training, and development, that's the focus here. So the onboarding, training, and development functions seek to socialize the new hire to the organization, match what the employee can do with job demands, and tap employee potential for future job roles, all while meeting the employee's career objectives. So this is once you've done the recruiting process, done the selection process, you have employees, now you want to get them acclimatized or trained and used to working for your company. So these things can be time consuming and expensive, but efforts to train properly, develop properly, and onboard them reduces turnover, helps employees become productive sooner, and contributes to overall employee satisfaction. So there's a distinction here between terms training and development. Training meaning present job related behavior. So that's pretty obvious. When if you hire a new employee, you're going to train them how to do their job, whether that's painting or cleaning or computer work or whatever it may be. You want to, in the short term, train them to be able to be competent in that particular position. Whereas development is a little bit different. That's developing them for future responsibilities. So maybe once you've had an employee working for a while, you see that they have a lot of potential. Maybe in the future, you could see them moving into a managerial supervisorial position, something like that, or just maybe a different area of the company. So you might start developing them to be able to move into that position. So onboarding, the term I already mentioned there, that's the process of helping new hires adjust quickly and smoothly to the performance aspects of their new jobs and the social aspects of the organization. So it's just getting them on board with the company and the objectives and the culture and everything within your company. So that can include things like orientation, socialization, training and development activities. And in order to lead to greater retention, so lower turnover, you want to hire good employees and you want to keep them for the long term. It's not good when companies have high turnover for a number of reasons. Allow them to be productive quicker, reduce anxiety, increase motivation and engagement. Some orientation program topics. This is page 219 in your textbook, breaks this down a little bit better. But when you're doing an orientation with a new staff, whether that's one or many, the obvious things that would be included would be like organizational information. So talking about the history of the company, the important names and titles, higher up people in your company, or maybe not even always higher up people, but people they'll be working with. Overviews of the company, policies, employee handbook, things like that, all pretty straightforward stuff. And then another important area of orientation would be HR related topics, how much they're getting paid, what the pay scales are, maybe when raises come, performance-based pay, things like that. Vacation and holiday pay, holiday periods, how to, I don't know why that says that twice, but how to book vacation, things like that, benefits, whether that's health benefits or other, maybe travel benefits, things like that. Services, programs, and counseling. So just other kind of fringe benefits and things related to HR. Role expectations, the next one there. So job location, job overview, safety, job tasks, objectives, and relationships. So more specific to what are they expected to do within that position. The next thing there having to do with orientation would be the socialization. So that's a continuing process by which an employee begins to understand and accept the values, norms, and benefits held by others in the organization. So turning outsiders into insiders, so people that no longer, or that used to not work with your company, and now you've hired them, you want to get them used to kind of the culture, the values, the norms of your company. Training is the next thing, and that's pretty straightforward. Investment in human capital. So when companies are training their employees, they're spending time and money. It can be costly at first, especially when employees aren't really producing anything for you, but you're investing in them, spending time and money in hopes of, having them stick around for a long time and being good, productive employees for your company. Companies today are in a highly global economy. Global competition has forced companies to flatten structures and reduce employees. So that's definitely true in this part of the world, in Canada, in Australia, the US, Western countries, and countries with lower populations. We've talked about this quite a bit, both in HR and econ, how companies here, we've really moved away from manufacturing using people. Like in general, there's a lot less manufacturing going on in North America, but the manufacturing that we continue to do is far less labor intensive, meaning we're using a lot more, machines, robots, different types of equipment to reduce how many people we need to use. And a lot of those labor intensive jobs have moved overseas to, or maybe not overseas necessarily, but to Mexico or overseas like China, India, Bangladesh, Vietnam, Indonesia, places like that, where labor is cheaper and they have more human resources. What else here? The training system, employee benefits, I'll skip through that. Next thing is needs assessment. So diagnosis present problems and future challenges that can be met through training or development. So looking at the needs of your staff and make an assessment. What do they need in order to become productive members of your company? Needs to consider each person. We all have individual needs. There's no one size fits all for developing employees. Yeah. Training objectives. So the objective of training is to create a desired behavior. So that could just be training at a restaurant. You want your staff to follow proper procedures, the way whether they're preparing food or interacting with customers. Performance criteria, making sure that their performance is acceptable, especially when it comes to things that you can measure. And then working conditions too are important. So that would have a big impact on your training objectives, whether that's, working on a construction site outdoors by yourself or indoors in more of an office setting with other people. Let's see. Some training technique trade-offs. The textbook has a better breakdown on these if you want to read through them. So when it comes to training techniques, on-the-job training or off-the-job training, more straightforward stuff. Job rotation, we've covered that already. Apprenticeships, coaching would be stuff that you could do actually at the job, whereas off the job, or even maybe you're at the facility, but lectures and videos, a lot of companies now have like training videos that you need to watch. Even I had to do that back when I worked for Tim Hortons, like, I don't know how long that was, 15 years ago, something like that. We had to watch training videos, labs and simulations, role-playing, case study, self-study, and program learning. So there's various different types of training that companies are implementing, and it depends on the company, depends on the type of work they're doing, things like that. But we're doing a lot more like simulations now, especially for things like pilots. There's training where you're driving a simulated or flying a simulated aircraft. Digital learning becoming hugely important, as all of you are finding right now, where you're doing a lot more learning from home, learning online, things like that, which, there's benefits and downsides to that. See, with digital learning, next thing there, virtual reality, augmented reality. So as I mentioned, like with flight simulators, if you're training to become a pilot, that's a really beneficial tool to have. A lot lower risk than actually getting into a plane and trying to fly it. So this would be virtual reality. Looks like the example here with police officers, police training. Some popular digital tools for training would be blogs, contain graphics, videos, and can be interactive, or even just websites. So yeah, training videos. RSS, Rich Site Summary, or Real Simple Syndicate, I believe it also stands for. Webcasts by trainers containing audio or video clips, wikis and other web pages, social networking websites, MOOCs and nanodegrees. This is just, I believe that stands for massive online courses, just online courses that are available to the masses, basically. And then like nanodegrees, I'm not sure if you guys have heard of those before. Just kind of like a sub form of a degree that you can get online through certain institutions. Typically what I've seen is they're for like programming. If you want to do like an HTML or JavaScript program, you can get what's called a nano degree, and you can just do that all online. So just a form of digital training. Next thing is employee development. So that, as I mentioned earlier, is preparing the employee to assume greater responsibilities and authority, often in the form of leadership position. So once you've trained an employee and they've been around for a while, you might want to start developing them to be able to move into a higher position in the future, or not necessarily higher, but to a different area. Like my friend right now is working for a manufacturing company, and he's interested in getting into the sales side of it. So they might be developing him to be a salesperson. Not that that's higher or lower in the company, it's just a different area. Maybe his skill set fits that better. So they might allow him to start working that a little bit. Steps to create employee development plans, assessing employees' needs. So we covered that a little bit already. Link competencies and skills to business goals, identify learning and development activities, determine resources, identify barriers. So this has to be done on an individual basis. You know, people have different personality types, different ways of learning, different needs, different motivators. We're in different working positions. So some developmental strategies for developing and training employees. Cognitive, so having to do with your mind, altering thoughts and ideas, increase knowledge and experience. So different training methods to teach people, whether that's behavior or new knowledge. Includes lectures, seminars, and academic education. That's pretty common now too. You've probably heard of like continuing education, where a lot of working professionals need to take some type of new course, go to some seminar once a year. Like that's pretty common. Behavioral development, so change in behavior, management style, includes role-playing, behavior modeling. So it's a good way to change someone's behaviors, is putting them through some role-playing, doing case studies, and like seeing how they would react in that situation and teaching them how to react appropriately. Environmental development, provide the setting for employees to develop. So that includes job rotation, temporary assignments, employee exchange programs, internal consulting, diversity and inclusion training. So just putting employees in different environments, job rotation, so they're working in various different areas within a company. Temporary assignments is going to allow them to be in different environments and learn different skills and be able to relate to other employees better. The evaluation of training and development, reaction, so like the reaction of the employee that's done the training is a key way of evaluating. Do they feel like it was valuable to them? Do they feel like they learned something? Knowledge and skills, do they feel like they've increased their knowledge and skills, and can you measure that? Their behavior, has that changed in the way that you're hoping for? Organizational results, you know, has that training and development led to improvements in the way your organization is functioning? Are you getting better results? Are you expanding as a company in response to that training and development? Individual career development, just a few things here. Just for individuals, how do employees measure career success? That would depend on the employee, but things like advancement, a lot of people are wanting to move up in their careers move up within a company, not everyone, but that's a key indicator of an individual success. Learning, do they feel like they're learning something new? Are they becoming more employable? And evidence of positive psychological factors. So next thing, factors affecting individual career choice, social and environmental concern, generational differences. And we've covered this a little bit already in past chapters with certain demographics having different preferences. You know, older baby boomer and even generations before that really cared about working for the same company for a long time. They wanted loyalty, whereas the younger generations, millennials, not so much. Work-life balance can depend on generations and certain demographics. Personality, job fit. So I think Wanda's done some personality tests with you guys, but I think these are really important. I've used one, the 16 personalities website. You can do that for free, and it's like the Myers-Briggs test, and it's really accurate actually if you fill it out properly, and that can help you in determining, you know, what's your suitable working situation, what's a suitable career for you. I think that can help get a better sense of self and self-awareness. This RISEC model, same idea. Looks at, well, here it is here, just looks at, you know, different type of people, different types of characteristics, and what suitable careers would be for them. So artistic, if you fit in this artistic category, those are creators who like to work with ideas and things, compared to maybe enterprisers, persuades, who like to work with people and data, or realistic doers who prefer work with things. So I mean, most people are a combination of these things, and you're on a certain spectrum. But I think it's good to know in order to help you find out what type of career and position is suitable for you. So HR department and career management encourages management and commitment and support, devises communication plans through HR tools to raise awareness of career options, align HR processes to facilitate career planning, and use technology to support career planning efforts. I believe this is the last slide. Yeah, okay. Active career planning develops promotable employees, lowers turnover, which is key. I find a lot of companies don't seem to care that much, at least in my personal experience. They don't care that much about turnover, but I think it's really important to find good employees and find a way to keep them around, because turnover is costly and it's really inconvenient. Furthers employee growth, reduces hoarding, satisfies employee needs, assists organizations meet legal requirements, taps employee potential, optimizes organizational potential. I think that's really important with this part there, is tapping into employee potential. I've felt this myself, and I'm sure a lot of you have felt this in past jobs, just the feeling of being underutilized. Like, yeah, you're doing your job, you're doing what they've asked of you, but you feel like you could do so much more, like you could offer so much more to the company. And not only would it be good for them, but it would be good for you to feel like you are providing more value and using your skills to better the company, to better yourself, things like that. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it for chapter 7. Just wanted to get through that quickly. Again, check the textbook. There's some good examples in there, and just reach out by email if you have any questions on it. And feel free to subscribe to the channel. You'll see new videos as I post them, although I'm posting for all 4 of my classes, so you'll get notifications for the other ones as well. That's it.